time. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So we are live.
Okay, so we are live.
Okay.
There's just live.
Okay.
I'm going
Yep. Yep.
to give you the stage now. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Ok. Bom dia a todos. Desculpa que a gente está um pouco tarde. Tivemos um problema com tecnologia, mas agora tudo bem. E bem-vindos ao terceiro episódio de Snakebite Roraima, um webinar internacional onde a gente fala sobre os problemas de picada de cobra, envenenamento e também as soluções internacionais. Então, isso é a segunda série de Snakebite Roraima, onde a gente fala com expertos do mundo inteiro. Hoje a gente tem o Dr. Taksa Vasaruchapong, que é um veterinário trabalhando com os produtores de antiveneno em Tailândia. So thank you so much, Taksa, for joining us. I'll explain a little bit in English. This is an international webinar about snake bites, hosted by Snakebite Roraima, which is a northern state in Brazil that experiences the highest epidemiology of snakebite in the whole country. And so this is the second series of this webinar. The first series met with experts from across Brazil, and this second series is meeting with experts from across the globe. And so we're really excited to host you here today. I explained a little bit about your work with QSMI and your work as a veterinarian focusing on snakes and reptiles. And so we're really excited to hear about your work. Thank you for joining us, and you can take it away.
Okay. Thank you, Chloe, and for your opportunity to give me a chance to have this talk. It's my honor. So actually, I have heard a long story about Brazil, about snake bites, about many story of antivenom productions. Actually, yes, this is truly my honor. So today's I want to share about some topic on the venom productions. How is it important for the antivenom productions? Is this the starting material? So okay, how I can, okay, nice. I try to change my slide. Okay, for the snakebite problem, I think in many tropical countries in the world confront the same problem, that is the snake bite. They can cause lots of death and also disabilities, not only on the humans, but also on the pets. These photos also that including about dogs, cats, and also the human that has bitten by the snakes. And the treatment of the snake bites is the most effective treatment is the snake antivenoms that actually was a discovery by Dr. Albert Calmet on 1894. So currently, these antivenoms still be the most effective treatments throughout the world. Okay, it's luckily in Brazil and in Thailand we have the antivenom to treat the patients, but lots of countries in the world still lack of these antivenoms and also lack of quality antivenoms. So from time to time, the antivenom was improved from the very conventional ones until to be the present day antivenoms. For the overview of the snake antivenom productions is roughly by collecting the venoms. We will consider it as some kind of antigens. So after we collect the venom from the snakes, we will check about the venom property first, mainly how about the LD50 of that particular venom lot, and we will calculate the dosage that we will use it. So we go to the next step to inject the venom into the horse. In this concept is we hope the venoms will acting like an antigen that can immunize the horse to produce the antibody against the snake venom. And when we got the high titer of the antibodies, we collect the horse plasma. Okay, there's a lot of countries can do different method and plasma collection. We do manually in Thailand and some of plasma phagocytes machine in some country, like some institute in Brazil use that. So after they collect a large amount of plasma, that we separate the antibodies to use only some part of the antibodies, also we call purifications and formulation, until we got the final antivenoms. So this is an overview of the antivenom production. So we can see that the first step of all things, or step 1, is a venom collections. So this is the starting materials. So we can imagine that when we want the animal to produce some things to against that particular toxin or pathogens, you need to have a well design of the venom at the first step. If you can cover the venom, even the all variability that you can find in the venoms, that is, you can immunize the horse with the best antigens, and you will get one of the best antibody. So that's why many institutes in the world start to concerning about keeping the raw materials for the antivenom productions. And I think the first place in the world was in your countries, that in Butantan Institute. So there's back to on 1908, that is more than 100 years ago. And also in the Queen Sawappa Memorial Institute, we started in 1923. So we can see that the snake pits from Thailand is quite look-alike from in Brazil. So yeah, and we are the brother on different side of the world. And then that is the starting point of the keeping snake in captivity for antivenom productions. And you can see some familiar face here. There's some, we can see how the human keep the snakes for the antivenom production. There are different way of thinking. We're back into the history of QSMI. Okay, back again to this slide. In this slide, we pull the snake together in one snake pit. Actually, like you got a farming, like the fish farm, you pull the snake inside together, you throw the food in, and when you want to harvest something, you get down into the snake pit, collect the snake up, extract the venom, and release them back into the pit again. So the point is, in that way, it is conventional, or maybe some little bit old-fashioned. We can see that the snakes stay inside the pit with no cover, no dome, no shade. So it is under the relying on the environment a lot. So when you got some little bit too hot in the summer, too rainy, you cannot control any environment. So it is a very big difficulties of keeping the snake in this way. And then we develop from time to time some fashions. They collect the snake from the wilds, keep for a period of times, and then extract the venom from the snake and release the snake back to hope that we still can sustainable use of the snakes. And the weak point of this way is we cannot guarantee how many snakes we can get. And the point is we cannot control the quality of the venoms. So we don't know exactly how to manage the population of the snake in our hand. So is when we talk about this issue, WHO launched out the guideline on the production control and regulation of snake antivenom immunoglobulin. They stress on something about the snake as well. They mentioned that snake venom are the starting materials and therefore ensure the quality. So the venom production should be able to have a good traceability, reproducibility, taxonomic accuracy, and hygiene control. So that means that when we keep the snake in that conventional thing, even in the snake pit or collect the snake from the wild, we cannot control all of these things. So how we can solve these problems? So we need to find something else, that is keep the snake in a scientific ways. So the WHO also talked this again, that strong efforts must be made to replace this approach with regulated production by using captive snake maintain a well-designed serpentariums. So, and the next question is, what is a well-designed? So the key of my talk today is how to maintain the snake in the captivity, how to reproduce them, how we can use the snake in this called this sustainability use, reduce capturing from the wilds, and can use the snake from our hand and still maintain enough the venom productions or can provide the adequate amount of the venom. And that must be a quality venoms that can ensure we can get a quality antivenom. So the first thing is how to make a snake farm is not like a fish farm for sure. So the snake farm for venom productions, the reason why I keep mentioning about fish is actually we think that the fish is in the water, the snake is on land, but both of them become cold-blood animals or and ectothermic animals. So these have the way much different from the other farming animals that we familiar. Like it's not like the cows, it's not like the horse, because they are endotherm. So the environment is the key factor to keep the snake alive in the captivities. So after a conventional snake pit in the very old time of QSMI, the snake husbandry unit was established in 1991. Okay, we start with that about there's a few species on that times. And now today we increase from that point to we have more than 50 species of the snake in captivities and about 1,300 snakes that we maintain at the moment. So in the picture is Dr. Lawan Janhong. She is the first person, the first veterinarian of QSMI that she's not the first one in QSMI, but she's the first one that established the snake husbandry unit. So she started to collect the scientific data on how to keeping the snake and develop from time to times. Until now, we have launched out the safety guidelines that regulated by the QSMI, that is from Queen Sawapa Memorial Institute. We have the safety committees. We need to authorize the person who will qualify to work with the snake, how to put the housing, curating, administration procedure, the blah, blah, blah. That is a lot of things that has been written down, and we still follow that thing. So why we need to have that things? Because it's the QSMI, our institute located at the center of Bangkok. So it means that we're surrounded by the office tower. Next door is a university and also a hotel. So that is a lot of people stay surrounding us. But most people don't know that they have the 1,000 venomous snake close to the door. So the point is we cannot let our snake escape, and we have to control our safety procedure. We have to ensure our staff will work safely. The snake was kept in the good environment. Okay, so this is why we have to make the little bit strictly protocol on that. And this slide show the overview protocols of that normally the people that keep the snake do on this way. So the first thing is when we start with the quarantine, that is a new snake coming into your captivities, we still have some snake donated by the people. Because I think we have the same thing, that we found the snake get into the people's house. And then we need some rescuer, collect the snake, help to relocate the snakes. And somehow they don't know how to release the snake. They have nowhere to release the snake properly, so they deposit to us. So when we got the new snake come in, we quarantine the snake at least 3 months to ensure that the snake is in good health and don't have transmissible diseases. And then do deworming, give them an ID, and then after it's past the control time, we send them to the main facility. So that is in our main captive areas. So there's need to control the environment, and I will show you later. And if the one that has potential to be the father and mother, we let them make breedings, where you're choosing male and females and then pairing them in the correct breeding seasons. And after that, if everything go fine, we got some pregnancies, we got the eggs. Some species is live bearing, they give a baby to you, and then you need to find a way to keep that baby survive until it's past the teenager time and become your production times. Okay, so here is the quarantine. The quarantine, we need to separate the snake from different area. From the key concept is exactly separate area, separate air, separate equipment, separate staff. that is a little bit costly. Or sometimes you can control the snake by using the air control, not let the air from the quarantine pass into the captive. And so, but the important point is not only about the system, but about the person that need to be strictly disciplined to make not just let easy going and do everything's contaminate. So they have to live with strictly on the hygienes and make sure that you not bring the new disease from this quarantine room into the main captive areas. Okay, so in this time we quarantine the snake for 3 to 6 months, do ID, do signalings, do deworming. And the point is, from my experience, almost every snakes they come from the natures. They harvesting a lot of parasite. Well, whether it's an ectoparasite or endoparasite, but they have. And they mostly have mixed parasites, mixed infection or co-infections. So that's why deworming is needed for the snake that was captured from the wilds. And for the captive settings, we do an individual enclosure because we don't have much space. We keep all these snakes on the buildings. We have 2 floors of the building that maintain that 1,000 snakes. Actually, it's a little bit fit, and now we are facing with the overpopulated. Okay, so we use the individual enclosure with roughly we use some lockable container. Sometimes it's a plastic box that we make the windows for them for ventilation or drill the holes for ventilation. And the room is a temperature control. We set at 26 to 28 Celsius degree. Depends on the temperature. It depends on the species requirement. So each individual room, we can separate the air controls, different temperature. And the humidity, we mostly control by offering different amount of the water in the enclosure. And all boxes need to put into individual rooms that can lock the door, and in the floor we can lock the floor also. So when you are the visitor, you want to get in, you need to pass at least 3 lock until you have access to the snakes. That is how we make sure about a locking system that the snake cannot escape. Okay, and sometimes the big snake we put them as individual rooms, maybe a suite in the hotel rooms. That's a little bit good for the big snakes. Okay, and this is the current number we have since this back to about 6 or 7 years ago. Start from 2019, roughly we try to maintain about 1,000, but now we still have a little bit over our capacity. So the little bit big job for the okay. So the species we increased from roughly 50, now we have about almost 70 species. But it's not mean that they have the same number of each species. Sometimes we got one rare species, so that is also one more species, but also one specimen. Okay, but for now, for the overall, we have about 60 to 70 species. Okay, we do some annual health monitorings. Mostly we do on deworming or do fecal check every year, and also has a veterinarian in place. We have 3 veterinarians at the moment, that also including me as a head of department. Okay, so the veterinarian that mainly take care of snake health is about 2 or 3 of them sometimes including me. Okay, so when the snake gets sick, we do our approach to make the snake getting better. We do some diagnosis, do medicine and surgery. Okay, do anything that we can do, and we can get some collaboration from the vet schools. Okay, so now here's okay, sorry, the slide should be come one by one. There's a little bit technology problems. Okay, so this is the way we control temperature on my left hand, maybe your right hand on somehow. This is the python with the lamp. That is we provide a heat source. That is the basking spot to increase about the temperature for them. And on the right hand side, we just divide the bedding. One side is dry and one side is wet. So it's when the snake can choose the humidity on their beddings, and also the food providing. There's actually the snake in the photo is a king cobra. They feed on the snakes. and we train them to feed on alternate food that easier to find, that is frogs, because we have frogs in the markets. People eat frogs? Yes, it's delicious. Okay, but the point is, it's easy to find in the markets, and we can feed them regularly. It's much better than find a snake for them. So this the way is we provide an option for the snakes to have, they can choose on the temperature, they can choose on the humidity, and we provide the lighting cycle at 12 hours, so 12 light and 12 dark. So there's mostly covered the need of most species in the tropical area. Okay, and it is the breeding program. Actually, the breeding program needs to get some data from long-term collections. We start, as mentioned previously, we start since Dr. Lavan initiation. That is about 1991. That's almost 20-30 years. So we have enough data from the main species that we produce the antivenoms. So we get most of the breeding season, breeding period, laying eggs period, and hatching periods for most of the species. Actually, this I show only from the venomous species. We also have a data from non-venomous species and also some other venomous species. Okay, but this is some overview. We have some data that need to be analyzed more, and that could be interesting. So, but this is the key idea that when we got enough data, so we can breeding in captivities, we can know the time they lay the eggs, and we know how to hatch the eggs. So in this slide, you can see and small white eggs in the basket. We put the water. We put the water down there, and the water will evaporization. So does it give enough humidities? And we just cover the top of that basket with clear acrylic plastics. So that plastic can maintain the humidity inside, and with the proper temperature, just leave in the room temperature. So the snake will hatch naturally. So it's a very cheap way to hatching the eggs. And we got about 90% or sometimes 100% hatch. So it's pretty fine. I'm sorry, I forget to turn off my phone. Okay, so and the number of offspring we got this the orange line, that is number of species we get the offspring. Sometimes we got 7 species, sometimes we got 5, and the babies there's roughly about 40 to depends on more than 100 per years. Yeah, that is why we still have overpopulated. Okay. Here is a juvenile care. So the problem of keeping baby snakes is the food items. How you feed a baby snake with a tiny food. Sometimes when we don't have enough food, we need to assist feeding. That is IV catheter. So it's made from polyethylene tube, so it's not hurt the snake at all. But anyway, the baby snake is fragile, so we need to be careful for that. So we need to find pink mice, baby froggies, or even some baby freshwater snake to feed the crate. Okay, so and we try to improve our annual health check to reduce the snake mortality rate. So we start from back to my first year in snake farm. That is about 20 years ago. We have more than 70 or 80% mortality rate in 3 months. We need to keep searching the snake from the wilds, buying the snake from the vendor, and now we reduce the snake mortality until we down to 3% about last 2 years. And now we stop buying the snake from the vendor. So some snake that die, we got replacement from the donation from the public. Okay, so this is how we keep the snake. So the point is, like keeping most animals, like livestock animals, cow, chickens, hens, something like that. This they have really well established protocol to keep them. But the snake itself, when you have different species, you have a different protocol of them, different requirement. So you need to collect the data from time to time until you establish one protocol for one species. And then to success that thing, you need a lot of patience, you need a lot of time, and needs a lot of nice intention and effort to collect that data. But yes, it's possible to do, and it's the key factors. And after you have the snake, the point is how you provide a quality venoms, how you extract the venom, and how to process the venom. So the venom extraction, actually, a lot of people can do these things. So they can do a lot of different methods by biting on the rubber pad, on any material. They can stretch on the container and let the snake bite through, and the snake will eject or deliver the venom by itself. That is what's it called, in the present state technique. In a very old time, we use a finger to squeeze the snake head to release the venom down. If the snake is big enough, that squeeze with your finger is not bad. But if you squeeze on the small viper, the snake will die next week. So to let the snake bite by itself is much more safe for the snakes. So the snake can stay healthy and can repeat extraction again and again. And the other way is, when the snake has very tiny fangs, we need to use some small tube. Some in this slide, I use glass capillary tubes. Some people use the tip of the micro pipette. That also give a very small hole, just insert on the snake fangs, and the snake bite through something, they inject the venoms. So this, we have a lot of different way to extract the venom. Okay, so the point is, I noticed some gaps on about these venom extractions. We don't know exactly what is the proper time of repeat extraction. Should we repeat every month, every 2 months, or every 2 weeks in case we need a lot of venoms? So we cannot tell exactly what is the proper resting interval time on the snake and what is about the container. They also lots mentioned that used to use polypropylene bottles, polypropylene tubes, everything that reduce some attachment of some ion to binding on the protein from the venoms. But the point is, when we talk about the QC or the policy or the production in the lab that use GMP, they need to do all things in sterile material that needs to use glass. And then finally, you pour all of your venoms from polypropylene into the glass bottles, and then use that glass bottle to inject into the horse. So there is still a lot of gap between the standard. So actually, there's still an open fields to study on how to maintain a quality venom. Start from how you extract venom, how often you extract them, what is the material you extract, and also how to process the venom. So now the venom processing that we did is we freeze the venom into the fridge and then do the lyophilization to keep it in dry form. So that is also the highest recommendation to maintain a protein in the best preserved form. But the point is, we don't know exactly what is the freezing point of that protein. We know that when we put the protein down under -80, sometimes the protein structure was destroyed, and they cannot reform back into the normal protein or peptide functions. So we don't know exactly how the venom work in different minus degree. Is getting too deep on minus, so they still need to work on it, or even the freezing protocols, how to lyophilization. But for now, well, the protocol we did, we use this method for over decades, and the reflection of this venom is the antivenom quality. Okay, here's the venom production we produce from each year. So back to 2019 again, and on left column that is in gram units. So it is quite a lot from some species, like from Netacountia, because that is the monocle cobra of Thailand, because this is our major populations. So in that 1,000, we have 1,000 snake that we have over 300 or 400 cobras, so we can extract a lot of venom compared to some other species like the Bangladesh candidus, the yellow one, that's almost on the zero line because it gives a very little venom. But that is all production we got from our snake farm. but that venoms. So, and the key challenging of the venom production is the venom reliability. So when we produce the antivenoms, we want the best antivenoms, but don't know exactly the antivenom that you are going to use. We use with the people from the north, from the south, or from each part of the countries. And a lot of publications mention that the snake from different part of your geographic distribution may have a different minor compartment of that venoms. So the point is you need to collect the venom from every part of your countries to cover that variations. So that not over the geographic distribution is also about the sex. The male and females may have different venoms, shedding cycle, food items, and also seasonal change. So how we can cover this variation, how we understand the things. So there are still a lot of ongoing study on these variations. We still found more and more factors involving on the venom reliability. So the point is we need to keep tracking that things. And then to maintain the quality of that. So the challenge is how to gather the snake from different part of your country, especially when your country has a big area with the vast majority of a nature area, like in Brazil. So you have the north part, you have the southern part, they're exactly different. So how you get the snake from each part, how to deliver the snake to the antivenom production areas. Some species also lack of information of keep them in captivity. We don't know exactly what the temperature they need, what the humidity they want, what is the breeding season. So there's still a lot of information to do, and also a lot of gaps that there's also mentioned about on the standard production, how to keep the venom properly, how to processing them properly. Yeah, there's still a big gap to do. But as long as we can maintain the best venoms from our facility, we can ensure we get the best antigen to immunize into the horses and hope for the best antivenom to use in the countries. Okay, thank you. That's my presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Taksa, for this incredible presentation and explaining to us all of the hidden work that goes behind producing this venom, which is so important for maintaining a safe antivenom product. And for sharing all of this work that you've done, not only on all of this, but also understanding snakes' behavior and breeding and all of this really important learning that we've done over the years. It's interesting to see the history of it all.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm. Do we have any questions in the chat for now? Feel free to leave them on the YouTube stream if we have any live viewers now.
No questions today.
Yes. We're happy to take any. I know I have one question for you, Dr. Taksa. I'm curious. First of all, like what parasites are most common for the snakes, and then I have another question after that.
Excuse me, may I have the question again? What is most common one?
What parasites do you have the biggest
What
problems with or
parasite?
find most commonly?
Actually, I have many most common parasite. Actually, I found most internal parasite. So mostly it's a roundworm that's including in the intestine and also in the respiratory tract. So that is the most common.
Okay. And what happens if you try to extract venom from a snake that has parasites?
A snake that has parasite, the point is if the intestinal parasite maybe not have a problem on the venom quality, but we cannot ensure how healthy our snake is when they have too much parasite. So the point is, from my observation, the snake which has too many parasites, they will start to have some weakness, loss of uh, loss of body weight, start to show some paresthesia, stop eating, and then we don't have enough protein that have enough energy, they produce less venom. So that also affect to your venom productions. And the point is, some parasites they transmit through their saliva. They migrate from the respiratory tract into saliva. I used to extract the venom in the tail, and I found a small parasite inside the tail mixed with the venom. So it means that if you're not carefully on the hygiene, you maybe get some parasite in the venom. But yeah, but the venoms we need to be lyophilized. You need to do the some processing. You need to filter them. You can remove it from the process. So the venom that also contaminate from that things, you can remove it out from your process. But the point is, it's not supposed to have the parasite in the venom.
I see. That makes sense. And in terms of dry bites, I always have this question whenever people are conducting education, whether they can say how often dry bites occur in different species. So as you're conducting these venom extractions, have you been able to gather any sort of idea of how frequently snakes might be doing a dry bite, and yeah, or do they
That
always
is
take their venom?
that is absolutely challenging questions. So the point is, from my experience, is even the same species, they have individual behaviors. They have their own habit. So it means it's like humans. Some people has a very bad temper. They always punch people on the face when they get upset. But some people are so quiet, so calm. They don't do anything. Even some people shouting in your face. So I think the snake also has that things. Some snake likely to bite and inject the venom right away all the time, but the same species, some not likely to inject at all. Like my experience is okay. So a good example maybe on the Malayan crate, the Bangladesh candidates, because we don't have much specimen. So I extract about 10 or 15. No, now it's about 10 specimen for one time. So and we know exactly that that particular specimen not likely to inject the venom. We need to allow them to several bites until they release the venom. But some of them inject the venom immediately and give a lot of venom every time. So it depends on their own habit. So we cannot tell exactly what in that day you found a very kind, generous snake, you get a very mad, very upset one. So so the question is, I cannot answer how often of the dry bite, but it depends on several factors. They just eat the food, they just fighting to each other. No, sorry, they don't use the venom for fighting. They just feeding the food. They just use the venom in particular reasons or their own behaviors. So we cannot tell exactly.
So it'd be really difficult for us to generalize if from this venom extraction model to a human
Yeah,
bite scenario.
no, cannot use exactly. So we what we have is average venom yield. Like when we got some 100 byte, well, and that all 100 byte, we put that average values. Well, we just find from the statistic, but it's an average venom use or venom injection from that time. So that is a data that we can get from that time. But when we reflect to the real situation of bite, not always like that.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm sure that that's also helpful to have for your production purposes. For any listeners or watchers who are not familiar with the concept of dry bites, this is basically a phenomenon where even venomous snakes can bite without injecting venom. So behind, they have venom glands with a muscle behind them. And Taksa, you can correct me if I'm misexplaining this, but they have to decide if they're going to inject the venom or not. So it's like a syringe where you can stab a patient with the syringe without putting any pressure and injecting whatever is in the syringe. So snakes can also bite without injecting venom. And this is very important to educate people about because people may use a traditional medicine or tie a tourniquet or try to suck the venom and they will survive after a bite from a non-venomous snake, or from a venomous snake if it was a dry bite, and then they'll believe that this is what saved their lives. But actually, there was never any venom to begin with. And so this is why it's really important for us to understand dry bites and how they happen and how frequently they happen, so that we can help raise awareness about the biology of snakes and overcome any myths that may impact our ability to understand proper first aid.
Yeah, and may I add on some things about
Please
the bite?
do.
Because when the snake bites, so as Chloe mentioned, is correct, because the snake control the venom injection. So it means, although that bite is not the dry bite, then it's not the dry bite, but they can have different amount of venom that is injected. Sometimes they inject with little venom. Sometimes it's inject and there's a massive load of venom. So it's different severity. Sometimes even the patient got bitten, got envenomated, but it's not severe. When they went to the traditional medicine, they survived because that venom is not enough to kill them from that time. So there's lots of factor of venom delivery. It's not about adequate and inadequate amount of venom. So for examples, the good pictures, I worked with the snake farm for 20 years, and we have our staff has been bitten by snake roughly about 1 to 2 times per year. So I have come across the snake bite envenomation for about roughly 20 or 30 cases only in snake farm. So but that almost 30 cases, I found severe case only 2 times. So most of the bites are not severe. Even it's not a dry bite. Okay, but the severity is not that bad. So mainly the snake just protect themselves. Because as long as you not provoke them first, or you not make it a little bit feel in danger, they will bite only to protect themselves. So sometimes you get lucky, the venom cannot kill you. That's all.
Yeah, that's a great point to make. And it's something that I think everybody working in snakebite could do. And if any clinicians are watching, then you may think about communicating with any snakebite patients as well, to calm their nerves, so that they know that most snakebite patients will survive, even without treatment. They should definitely get treatment, because you can have a lot of symptoms, but they don't need to panic. The mortality rate
Yeah,
is very low, and with treatment, it's next to nothing. So that may be one great thing to keep in mind for your bedside manner.
yeah.
Oh, great.
So
Do we?
the point is, well, one of my experience is my most population in snake farm is elected. So there's a cobra crate in cobra, the neurotoxin. I am not sure that they have a different behavior from Latin vipers, because the Latin vipers, I know about their what you call this furious behaviors, easy to panic, and it's exactly much bigger than Asian vipers. So I'm not sure about this situation. This will be mostly not so severe like in my country. But yes, but just keep in mind that this snake can control the glands. They can deliver different amount of the venom. Sometimes not deliver, called dry bite. Little deliver is not severe to death. And you also can have your bad luck, give a bad kiss, and then finally you die. So there's a different situation of the bites.
Yeah. No, it's really important for all of us to keep in mind. So, do we have any other questions in the chat? We have maybe one more minute to provide any opportunity. Otherwise,
No, for today, everyone's very quiet.
we have clapping hands in the chat. So I think that they really enjoyed your talk and your presentation today.
Maybe
Yeah, it was
my bad English. Sorry.
No, no, you did. I think it was really wonderful. I know I learned a lot, and so I'm really thankful for your time today. And it's really a great honor always to to meet with you and to hear and learn from your experience. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Taksa.
Yes. Thank you very much for your invitation. Okay, nice to meet you all.
Thank you, thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of Snakebite Horaimo.
Okay.
Everyone take care and enjoy the rest of your day.